The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Butcher's Bible Podcast. I am your host, Ant.
I'm Luke.
We're two blokes preaching the meat industry.
Preaching the what?
Preaching the good word of the meat industry.
one episode at a time.
Oh, yeah. I got that Friday feeling, baby. Skip the intro. Let's get stuck into it.
Nice.
Right. We've got a very special guest with us today. We have the very handsome, the very talented Sam Bailey.
Thank you. Thanks for
How's it
having
going?
me.
No,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us your time.
It's fine. It is an honour and a privilege to be on with you two. So thank you very much.
I'm surprised that Johnny let you out the shop, to be honest.
Yeah. Even when the doors are shut, I'm just in the engine room, just keep going.
Is that right? More jokes?
Yeah.
He let the cuffs off. He's like, all right, Sam, I know you got a very important meeting tonight. So the cuffs come off, but as soon as you get off that podcast, they're back on. You're like, oh, fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the youngest as well, so that just seems to be how it goes. It's like make sure you're back by 11, Sam.
Yeah. So do you want to take this opportunity to plug and promote everything Sam Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to plug and promote. Just myself. So yeah, I'm Sam. There's not really much to me. Ex-chef by trade. Coming up to 2 years butchering at Butcher Farrells Meat Emporium with the great team there, Johnny, James, and Georgina, where we just sort of try and traditional methods of butchery, but modern twist on things, the way things should be. You know, just, how we like it, taking into consideration sort of from a chef's point of view as well, sort of how things should be done, how we think they should be done. So, and having a lot of fun with it as well. So that's the main thing.
Cool.
No stuffed lamb racks here.
Yeah. Something full of leaks.
No.
Or black pudding or chorizo as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably a conversation for another part of the podcast, to be honest. But yeah,
it'll make its way back.
That one will creep up on us, definitely.
You're an ex-chef. Run us through how you actually started that and then transitioned to butchery.
So I wanted to be a chef from the age of 8. That's just what I've always wanted to do.
Nice.
My uncle was a chef. We're quite like a foodie family. My granddad was a chef in the army, so I was always like a big fan of that kind of thing. So I just sort of wanted to go down that line. There was never any doubt sort of in my head anything else I wanted to do other than chefing. It's just what I'd always wanted.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I know like a lot of people, they sort of grew up not sort of knowing what they wanted to do, but I always had my, heart set on doing that. And so as soon as I finished school, I knew I didn't want to go to university or anything. I literally just had my mind set on doing that. So I went to catering college. At the time, whilst I was at catering college, I was working part-time at sort of like a little village bistro near where I live. So I did like 30 covers. It was like quite casual, fine dining kind of thing. It was really chilled, small team. And I was a kitchen porter there until it was actually my brother-in-law was a chef there, and he left, and they knew I wanted to be a chef. So whilst I was at high school, I was about 14. It was like a Saturday night, and they were like, "Come on, jump in. you got to learn somehow. So next thing it was like the head chef and me, and I just got like chucked into the deep end. So that's how I started.
That's good though.
Exactly, and I owe a lot to that place. It was a bit of a rough place, and some dodgy things went on there in a lot of small restaurants, but I owe a lot to that place. So yeah, and then as I said, I went to catering college. I did 2 years there overall.
Yeah.
In my first year, obviously I'd been chefing at that point for about 2 years, like part time. So my college tutors were like, we need to find you somewhere a bit different to go to try and push you. So at 16, I went for a trial at a restaurant called Moor Hall Restaurant with Rooms, which is in Orton, which was just gained its second Michelin star.
Nice.
So I certainly got chucked into the deep end of that one. So I went for a trial when I was 16 there. I got the job and I started just after my 17th birthday. So I was the youngest there in both kitchens combined, because they had 2 restaurants there. So that was a bit of a difficult one.
How old are you now, Sam?
22 now.
Okay, right. Man.
So yeah, so although if you ask Johnny and James, they'll either say that I am 12 just because I'm younger than them, or I'm like a middle-aged man. They like to just compare me to that.
no middle ground at all.
Yeah, it's either like one or the other. Usually depending on the conversation half the time. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Is it going to go really serious or really childish?
Yeah, exactly.
When you come out, when you go, I love Radio 4. And they're like,
it's usually like, what they always say to me, like, they'll be like, oh, you go in the pub tonight? I'll be like, yeah, I might go for a drink. What are you going to have? And I'll be like, I quite fancy like a nice hazy IPA on cask. And Johnny would be like, you are such an old man. Like, just have a cold lager, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I stayed at Moor Hall until until the end of the start of COVID. So about a year and a half, coming on 2 years. And whilst I was there, we won best restaurant in the country 2 years on the run. So it was a lot of pressure. It was all the time. It was endless. And then after COVID, they have a sister restaurant called The Barn, which is on the same site, just over the road from them pretty much. And they were really struggling sort of during the Eat Out to help out. And so I went over, because I was the youngest again, I was the last one to go back to the kitchen after everyone sort of slowly made the way back. So I went back and I started helping them out, and I'd finished college at this point, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really small team. They were pushing for like 1 Michelin star, like fine dining. So I decided to stay. So I did 18 months there. And in that time, I did all the sections in the kitchen, and I was there when they won their first Michelin star. So I was on meat and fish when they won the first Michelin star. So I was 19 at that point when I was there. So yeah, I mean, at Moor Hall, they had like their own butchery on site. Now, it wasn't quite like sort of the Devonshire or anything like that, where everything's done in house. It was very much sort of like a showpiece, the fact that they could say they had a butchery there. But they did dry age everything. They made all the charcuterie in house, so I learned a lot about sort of charcuterie making, dry aging. That's where I was sort of first introduced to that, which was really interesting. And then we all, when you're on like meat section there, you started to get to know more about sort of where the meat was coming from. We specialised in all the meat was sort of ex-dairy, so you got to know all the breeds. We used to get them from all over the place and age them on ourselves. And then we used to get in whole bodies of venison. So I started learning bits of like butchery there, and I was always had like a big interest in it. And then, so coming towards the end of my time, probably about a year into being at the barn, my missus found out she was pregnant.
Nice.
Which chucked rather large spanner in the works, I'd say.
Yeah.
To be honest. And we were very shocked. So I stuck it out during the whole time she was pregnant. Then once he was born, things started to get a bit like really difficult. The hours were absolutely insane. Like I can't even like describe. Because I'd got used to him as I got older, and then all of a sudden you've got like I had a missus at home who was pregnant. We had like a newborn baby. My missus, I mean, I was 19. My missus was 18 at the time.
Yeah, wow.
Young family.
We just moved into our own house. Like we were living like together. We'd moved out the way. And so it was a lot to take on.
And you wanted to be home, I assume.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. I wanted to be like so involved as much as I could. But I was leaving the house at 7 a.m. To get to work between like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then an early, like standard night, you're finishing at midnight, getting home for 12:30.
That's serious.
And the entire like exactly, and then like the entire time it was just like a serious push. Like you never stopped because you just didn't have the time or the chance to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know you guys did like the episode on like mental health awareness and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like a massive that side of me is like I'm really big on that in terms of like mental health in the workplace, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm completely open and honest about the fact that I was in a really bad place at that point. The pressure of everything. I was on a section on my own. Like we were really short staffed. They were trying to just push as many people as possible. And then because of that, my missus was at home and she started struggling. She was struggling with, and she won't mind me saying that, she was struggling with like postnatal depression, anxiety, and obviously she was really isolated and she had this baby at such a young age all day and all night pretty much for 5 days a week. So it got really heavy at that point. And it got to a point where I was literally like, I need to get out of this. Like, and it was really weird because it's sort of going from the age of 8, where that is the one job you just wanted to do, and this is like the best thing you could possibly be doing, and all of a sudden I was just like, I need to get out of this for everyone's sake. I really did. And so it's actually a funny story. I contacted Johnny because my next bet was I either get into something to do with produce supplying, I get into butchery, I become a fishmonger, like that kind of. That was all.
Yeah. So you didn't even try and go to sort of like another place to continue chefing. You were just like, I'm done.
No, genuinely, it crossed my mind, and it was a thought. But I think I can't say anything bad. Like it was tough, but at that time I just needed a break away from it. So I thought it was the best thing for me, and I'm glad I did it. So I went to Johnny, contacted Johnny, and he had an advert out for a job, but I hadn't even seen it at that point. I just messaged him and he was like, yeah, come on down, like, we'll get you in, we'll have a chat, see how things go. So I went for a trial, and then James as well went for a trial on a different day, and I think someone else did as well, so it was the 3 of us. And then I got a message like a few days later, like late on at night. I'd just finished service actually. I had a really bad service. I got shouted at a hell of a lot, and I got a message off Johnny saying, unfortunately, we can't offer you the job at this time. So I was absolutely gutted. Gutted. So my next bet to get out of it was I contacted a friend of mine who works at a big farm shop that's local to us, called Taylor's Farm Shop. It's like a huge outfit. I contacted him. I've known him all my life, and he got me a job there, and I went and worked there as a deli chef. Cool. So I was in charge of like pies, keeping all that. It was really, as I said, really big outfit, a lot of money coming in and out. But in all honesty, I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't me.
It was the out you needed.
Yeah. But it wasn't what I wanted. I was on a deli with 8 other women who were around 60, and I was the only boy, and I was the youngest one, and they were very, very set in their ways. So when I yeah, so well, let me think of one. So with like the EHO side of things, there everything had to be cooked to 75 degrees and held there for between 3 to 5 seconds. That's what the rule was. But that includes things like roast beef for slicing, like packaged roast beef. So you've got this roast beef that is absolutely nailed, and I mean nailed. And then all the stuff for the pies, so like the steak and kidney pies, they used to braise overnight in like the rationales. You used to put it in like heat-proof vacuum bags and stick them in the rationales.
A little bit of microplastic to go with it.
yeah, exactly. So, but the worst part is that they used to mix the diced beef and the kidney and then cook it overnight.
Mush.
So you can probably imagine the smell that you came into in the morning, like overcooked kidney. And like when I'd question it, I'd be like, "Can we not do this a different way? Like this is absolute." And they were like, "Nah, we've always done it like this. This is how we do it." Everything was sort of like Lucas seasonings, gravy powder, you name it. Nothing was made how it was. They just wanted speed and money. That's basically how it was. They asked me to make a certain type of ready meal that they wanted, and I had a sauce made up to go with it within the day that was costed like less than what they were buying in a sauce for. They tasted it and they were like, "This is amazing, but we're just going to continue buying in the sauce just because it's easier." I was like, "Right, okay, whatever."
So mad, isn't it? So crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to. They didn't even want to know. They were like,
"Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. That's exactly what it was like." And
get it out.
But yeah, like, and Johnny used to be obviously he was a rep for MRC, wasn't he? And that was one of the shops that he used to go to, so he knew exactly what they were like. So when I got a message off Johnny after I'd been there for a few months, basically saying like, "Oh, how you doing, mate? I haven't heard from you in a bit. Like, how's things?" And I said, I was like, "Oh, I've gone to Taylor's," and he was like, "Oh, you've gone to the dark side, have you?" And then he basically just went, "There's a job here if you want it." And I went, "Yep, fine." And the next day I handed in my notice and I was gone. And I finished off the weekend, and then I had a couple of days off, and then I started with Johnny straight away, and I've never looked back. Brilliant. To be honest. So that's basically my story, really. Sort of how I've fallen into it.
I love it.
But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, I can't like say enough about sort of like the lads that I work with. They sort of completely changed my perspective on how a workplace should be.
Nice.
How a business should be run. I'd been completely on the receiving end for 3 years of the classic like shit runs downhill. And I had been the one at the bottom of the hill for so long. So like, yeah, I can't thank them enough, to be honest. And obviously I've said before, like, I'm quite open about the fact that my missus hasn't been too well. She's been struggling for a long time, like, postnatal depression, that kind of thing. And Johnny, James and the whole team, and Amy, Johnny's missus, they're all like, so understanding of like the whole thing. And when I went for the job there with Johnny, I was completely open about myself, sort of how I was. And it is like a real small family, and it's class. Everyone's involved, everyone gets on. We have a few bits of like tiny little squabbles, but they're not really squabbles. They're just sort of bickering for a little bit.
James being James.
Yeah. We call it. We all know, and I think James said when he was on that when he gets in a bad mood, we all know it because he goes quiet for 15 minutes and just chunners under his breath whilst he's doing the job which he's complaining about. Like,
he said that. He said that when he was on as well.
Yeah, we all know it's going to get done. We all know
some confirmation there.
So that is 100% true. And like Johnny, bless him. Like him and James have both sort of met the match, and as I said, I'm just in the middle of it. Like they just bicker, and I'm just there, just sort of like please stop. Love God.
Dads, please calm down.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. That's exactly like the kids are crying. Please stop.
You're yelling.
It seems like Johnny's really trying to like he's cultivated a really good sort of work environment there.
100%.
It's amazing.
100%.
Has he got any jobs going or?
I'm sure he would do.
Yeah.
Might be a bit of a commute for you, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny said he'll put us up, so I'm happy to sleep with Johnny.
That's fine. I'm sure Johnny won't mind either.
Dibs on Little Spoon.
You got to tell James.
But yeah, so yeah, he really has. He's just created this sort of really happy sort of atmosphere where, you know, we push hard, like we're busy, really busy shop for the size of us, especially considering we are whole carcass, we take on a lot. But, you know, we get a push on, and yeah, you pick it up really quickly, and none of us have looked back, to be honest.
Have you taken on any sort of formal training, or are you just learning on the job?
Just learning on the job, to be honest with you. So when I started, obviously, I hadn't done any like beef or anything like that. I'd done a lot of venison, I'd done some lamb, I'd done bits of pork and that kind of thing. Now when I started, it was like the end, came into like November, December, and obviously it was only the three of us. So getting up to speed with beef, and that was quite difficult because it was such a busy, fast period for us.
Yeah.
But then when it came into the new year, I started doing more, and sort of came to the realization that literally just the more I do, the more I can get my hands on more beef, like, you know what I mean, more lamb, then you just pick it up so quickly. So I'm quite like, I'm getting much more, well, I'd like to hope that like Johnny James and everyone thinks that I'm getting more confident with it. So, you know, I can do pretty confidently all elements of beef now, you know, lamb, pork. So as long as it's put in front of me and you tell me what you sort of want from it, I can give it a good go getting it out of it.
Yeah, awesome. You really like 50% of the way there, because you really got the knife skills, you know, because that's like the big part of it, and then it's just knowing the anatomies and how to deal with it.
Exactly. And I think a massive part for me is that I think a huge like USP to the business is the fact that we are ex-chefs. And I think us having that sort of knowledge of what to do with it once it's been taken out of body, once it's been boned out, or whether it's on the bone, off the bone, I think that really makes us sort of stand out from other places. You know, we always say like, you know, we can chuck anything in the counter, but what's the point if it's not going to come out nice once you've cooked it, or you don't understand where it's come from, or you're going to cook it wrong? Like, what's the point in that? Or it's not going to taste too good. So that's what we take a lot of pride in. And it's good because it keeps me in touch. Well, it keeps all of us in touch with like the cooking side of it, which is really nice. So
that's a big.
Because you're really struggling for cooking it whilst there, aren't you, with your staff lunches?
I mean, the thing is, right? So the thing is that when you heard this from me first, right? When I
buy it in.
When I went for the job, right, I got there and Johnny and James were there, and Johnny was like, yeah, you know, we do start, you know, you're doing such and such hours, we do staff lunch like a couple of times a week, you know, we'll cook some sausages on the Traeger or whatnot. And I was like, yeah, sound. So anyway, I started, we did do a lot of sausages, that kind of thing, little stuff. And then Johnny one day was just like, let's do something a bit different for staff lunch. Okay, Sam, you do something different for staff lunch. So then that sort of just became my job, and it's gone from, you know, having sausages once a week as a little bit of a snack to, you know, it's become like a proper staff food kind of thing where, you know, we put loads of effort into it. We've smoked stuff for hours, like put them on early doors. So yeah, no, it's really good. Like I think the first one we did lamb against shakshuka on the Traeger. And that was the first one that I did for them, apart from the Traeger broke halfway through, so Johnny had to drive the shakshuka to his mum's house and finish it in her oven.
Commitment.
Yeah, commitment to the cause. So yeah, but yeah, that's always nice to do. As long as I try and like sort of work it into everything else that we need to do. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Nice.
We'll return after these messages.
That's awesome, Sam. Just want to go back to the mental health for a bit. Just when you were talking about it, what was the headspace like when you were doing the hours that you were doing with a young family on its way? Like, what kind of headspace were you in when that was happening?
Yeah, it was a bad headspace. Like that's the best, like the quickest way to describe it. I think it was more the pressures of things because like it was a case of I've got this commitment at home, which I'm so desperate to like do as much as I can for help with. But at the same time, I'm trying to do well in my career. I'm trying to like better myself. Yeah. And so it got to a point where I'd gone from loving my job, it was difficult and I was always anxious going into it, but it's like almost like this anxiety taking like a new level. Obviously with places like that, as much as they say like things have changed, they haven't. It's like boiling point. It's like being in the, you get a lot of bollockings all the time.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where I'm completely honest about it. Is like every single morning I would wake up like shaking because I knew that I had like this 16-hour day ahead of me, wasn't going to be able to come home. I knew that most probably my missus would be struggling at home with like a newborn baby. Yeah. And then I had to go make sure I was set, make sure I was ready for lunch, eat as fast as I could, make sure I'm ready for dinner, get cleaned down, make sure I'm ready for the next day. And it was just constant like that. I think it got to a point where other chefs started to notice that I was completely out of headspace. Like I was in the wrong headspace completely. And they spoke to like the head chef, who's like exec, Mark Birchall, and he came and like spoke to me, and he basically said like, look, we can see that you're struggling. What's the issue? I spoke to him about it, and they offered me basically. They was like, we have a friend of ours is like a therapist, who we work closely with, and we basically refer any chefs who are struggling to her, and we will pay for the first like 2, and then you go from there. So I was like, right, that's fine. It's a little bit of help. Maybe I'll be able to sort of come out of this.
But I think, sorry to interrupt, but if that's already on the books and they do that anyway, surely there is a systemic issue of people being within that headspace. Like, why not just act before people get to that point?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
This is the difficult part, was that like over the 2 restaurants, I was still the youngest at the time at 19, but I was one of 3 who had been there the longest out of anyone else. And that was including the senior sous chef of the 2 Michelin star restaurant and the head pastry chef. So I was just like a veteran of the place because I'd been there for like 3 years. So I went for this like therapy. It wasn't particularly for me. But the first 2 sessions that they paid for were literally just like introductory sessions, where it's just like getting to know you. And then they recommend like 15 to 20 sessions. So I did a few more and it wasn't really working out. So I went back to work, just sort of cracked on with it. Tried another type of therapist. I went through like just by myself through like self-referral.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I was so like worked up and I got like my missus was struggling so much and I couldn't do anything about it. That I literally, again, I'll be honest, coming into a Sunday lunch service, I had a complete breakdown. And I just walked out the kitchen and I went and just sat in the changing rooms, just trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And so after my head chef come in and spoke to me, I decided that I was going to speak to her about reducing my hours, and I was going to go do like 8 till 5 every day, which I was more than happy to do.
Yeah.
Now the only issue was that we were so short staffed, there was no one to cover me when I left at 5 o'clock. Because even though I was again the youngest in the kitchen, there was no one who could do my section in that kitchen. No one, because they hadn't been there long enough.
Yeah.
So my first day, where they agreed for me leaving at 5, it was sort of like one lad had walked out, and it was like, okay, Sam, you can't go home now. You're not allowed to go.
Shit.
Yeah, you need to stay. So the worst part of that was obviously like phoning my missus at home and explaining that I wasn't allowed to go home. And so that night I typed up my resignation and I just handed it in. It was just like I needed to do it, and I think for a long time I'd been stuck in that sort of headspace of I wanted to do this from such a young age. I need to stick this out, and I wasn't seeing anything above that.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing like what other workplaces are like. I was literally just, to me in my head, this was it. This is how things are supposed to be done. You know, I should be doing this. And it took me a lot to eventually hand in my resignation. And that's when I left. I remember my last service. It's quite a funny story actually. we had this like on Sunday lunch. We had like sirloin of ex-dairy. We'd have venison on. We'd have whole crown of duck on the bone, which is carved table side.
Yeah,
it was a hefty, really hefty menu, to be honest. And service would start at 11:30 and it'd finish at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and you were just working through all day. So we do about 150 to 180 covers on a Sunday at like one Michelin star level. So I was on the meat, fish, and sauce section. So I did all the proteins and everything. And so this service, I just wasn't having a good service at all. And I was right next to it. I was on the pass next to my head chef.
It's almost like you would say you checked out almost.
I started to check out. I still cared, and I wanted to. But at this point, I was mainly just trying to not get bollocked. Right? And then this was the day where this all sort of went to shit big time. So I was carving up this sirloin. Now it was obviously carved by hand, but it had to be a certain thickness. Couldn't have any rips in the meat or tears in the meat. It had to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was under a lot of pressure. I've been shouted at already, you know. And I carved up this piece of sirloin, completely fucked one of the slices, and it ripped right down the middle. And my head chef was like, "You do that one more time, that's it. You're done. You're on pots, and that's your job gone." So even though I was checked out, I didn't want that to happen. So I waited for him to turn around to carve the next piece of sirloin, and I fucked it again. So I rolled it up and put it in my pocket.
That's for later.
rather than put it on in the bin, which was on my section because he'd see it.
Yeah.
I shoved it in my pocket. Now on that same check, there was I was going down hard at this, but I just want to don't let this reflect how I am as a cook or a chef, please. This makes me sound like I am absolutely horrific. So obviously we had this duck on, and we had to roast the duck crown whole all the way in the oven. And then what you do is you carve it off the crown, put the breasts back on the crown, take it out to the table to show the table what they've ordered. And then when it comes back, you'd carve it up, put it back on the crown, and then it'd go out to the table. It was really complicated.
What?
But you had to get your timings like spot on. So you needed to make sure that basically when you were 2 tables before the one that had the duck on order, you needed to have that duck resting or in the oven. It took about 14 minutes to cook all the way through. So basically, this table was away, right? This table was away, and I carved up this sirloin. rolled it up and shoved it in my pocket. Next one, everything was fine. I was like, right, I've avoided that one. I then go to carve up a venison, and we were using the pencil fillets because the barn that we were at, we got all the shit cuts basically. Because two missions they just want the loin and they just want like the rat, and then we basically got shoulders, haunch, and pencil fillets. That's what we got.
Right.
I'd completely misjudged the timing on these Venny pencil fillets, and I carved into it, and it was raw. It was like,
nice.
I brought this back to life, and I carved into it, and my head chef was watching me, and he went, "What the fuck is that, Sam?" And I was like, "I'll just give it a flash, it'll be all right." And I completely fucked it. And he turned around to me and he said, "Sam, for the love of God, please tell me you've got the duck in the oven." And I turned around with this raw duck, which I hadn't put in the oven yet. And I just held this crown up to him, and I was like, "It's not in yet. Just give me 15 minutes and we'll be able to go on it." So I got ridden the entire service, and then I got to the change of rooms right at the end of the night, went to get changed, realised I hadn't taken this piece of sirloin out my pocket. I just had this cigar of sirloin rolled up in my pocket that had been in there for about 8 hours.
Nice. Please tell me you put it in his shoe, right in the toe.
Yeah.
My pocket. So basically everything that could have gone wrong there literally went wrong. And so, you know, again, please don't judge me on that.
Too late.
Rough time. I bet you're like, wow, he must have been really shit chef, like really bad. And so so it was at that point where I think that was like my last Sunday service, and then I had a week left, and then I left after that. But yeah, a lot of stories of like, you know, again, I owe a lot to the place. I'm glad I stuck out for how long I did. But like just the pressure, getting sauces chucked at you from across the pass, pans launched across the room, like, you know what I mean? You do something wrong, the next thing, the whole thing's in the bin, and you've got like 2 days worth of prep that they've just binned, and it, you know, it was just.
But in your mind, you're like, this is fine. This is fine.
Exactly that. And that was the most difficult part, was that to me, it was, as I've said, it was only when I left and I got out of that situation that I was like, no, this is what a normal workplace is like. I said, like, when I started at Johnny's, like my even like my missus, even like my mom and all that was saying, like, you just look healthier. Like, you don't look completely stressed. You don't look drained. Like, I'd lost loads of weight just because I didn't have time to eat, just on my feet all day. So I was just starting to look healthier, which is good, especially like coming from them, because they'd seen me like sort of go downhill with it. So that, you know, that was really good. But yeah, in terms of the headspace of it, it took me a long time, even once I changed jobs, to get out of that mind frame. Like, I remember I went to see a therapist like just after I'd left, just because I wasn't really in a good place whatsoever. And she said, like, how is it affecting your day-to-day life? And I always described it as sort of, I was so used to the way that I had to work as fast as possible that I was just bringing it into my life in a bad way. Right. So even on my days off, if I was just doing jobs around the house, it'd be like, right, I need to wash up. But whilst I'm washing up, what I'll do is I'll put a load of washing on, because that can be going whilst I'm doing that. But then I'm wasting time doing that, so I'll do something else first. And I was constantly in that mind frame of like getting stuff done as fast as possible. And even now, like, Johnny and James have said to me, like, now when I eat so fast, I really do. I wolf food down. I really do. And that is like, that's just from me having to eat as fast as I can. I've just not shook that sort of like, you know, sort of way of being. And you know, after I'd left, obviously, again, like the whole family situation, my relationship got so much better. As much as like my missus was still struggling with her mental health, I went to Johnny's, and it is just like a family. Like, you know, when we go out for like Christmas parties, Christmas meals,
Yeah.
like, you know, you can bring your missus with you, you know, families are invited, couple, you know what I mean? So it all becomes like, you know, you feel like you're really part of the family. So, you know, big changes, but the hardest part is just that one step, is just admitting that you need to get out of it. And that was the hardest part for me. And then after you've got past that point, you can then look forward in terms of changing your mindset, changing how you think. Because as I said, like, it was affecting my life in a bad way, but in terms of it's made me work efficiently, it's made me quit, you know. Now, especially coming into butchery now, I'm constantly thinking about like wastage, that kind of thing, how we could put forward. So in that respect, yeah, it's had like a positive effect.
Yeah.
But
they're your good takeaways from it. You mean?
Exactly. But you know, like away from that, it does affect you in a bad way. But as I said, it's just taking that first step just to get out of it.
Yeah. No, it's highly commendable to actually, for being able to truly step away from something that you were so enamored with from such a young age.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think. So you're not walking out of the Emporium with pockets full of anything now?
Definitely not. The thing is, but I tell you what, like, I always find that when people are under pressure, that's when they make mistakes. When people are worried about what's going to happen if they make a mistake, they're more likely to. That's a big part of how I see it. And so for me, because, you know, everyone makes mistakes, but because I feel less under pressure, I feel like I'm less likely to do anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like I can, you know, you're learning from things rather than sort of, you've done that wrong, I'm going to shout at you. You better learn from it.
Yeah.
It's now a case of how it should be, where, right, you've done this wrong, next time, you know, let's do that. And, you know, as much as sometimes like Johnny and James like to do this thing with me, where if I do something wrong, they'll just go, don't worry, Sam, we'll do it together next time, which is like probably the most patronizing thing I think anyone could. Like, it could be anything. Like, I could be made Johnny's cup of tea wrong, and he'd be like, no, don't worry, Sam, we'll do it together next time, don't you worry.
No, cheers that.
Cheers for that. Cheers.
Oh, also drink coffee like a man.
yeah. No, Johnny can only have one coffee a day because he says that coffee brings him out in spots, so he just has one coffee a day and then drinks tea for the rest of the day.
Ooh, interesting.
It's funny, isn't it?
It first. No one else knows that. So
now the thousands of listeners, they all Sonny, Johnny.
I mean, if you are going to put anything in your pocket, can it be the strawberry sausages that James promised us?
And some merch.
Yeah. In fairness, I keep reminding Johnny about the merch, and we'll definitely get down. I love doing the different flavors of sausages because, again, as I said, it just keeps us in touch with sort of like working on the flavors, cooking side of it. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. How's the extension? Also, thank you very much for sharing that personal information of yourself.
We appreciate that, mate. It's also nice to get it from a younger bloke and working from the background that you had, now transitioning into the butchery world, and it's really nice to see. And it's good to see that you're on the other out of it and on the other side.
No, exactly.
And on the up.
And on the up, yeah.
Things like couldn't be better. Like, and in all honesty, like, it's, you know, I can't thank Johnny enough for that, because it's really shown me sort of how things should be. You know, I get to see like my little lads during every night. Like, we're always done by 5. See him every night. Days where I can take him to nursery, I see him like on my days off. You know what I mean? It's brilliant. The same with like just being able to see my missus of an evening. Like, as much she probably doesn't think the same at times, but
you're annoying. Go back to work.
Exactly that. Like we like when I come home from work, we have to talk to each other. No, it's something that she's quite a nice person, but
that's good. Yeah. Glad. I'm happy.
But no, yeah. So I'm quite open to all that because I just think it needs to be thought of more because I think they make out as if, you know, especially like men's mental health in general, but within whether it's butchery or hospitality, they act as if things are getting better, but it's not always the case. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the Burnt Chef project is doing a good change on that, you know, because that was probably only just coming around when COVID was lifting, and then they realized in that project that they got put together it seems to be making good headway, and I think it is trying to change the stigma about it. And they deserve a lot, like, and that what they brought.
I mean, there was one point where I did actually contact Burnt Chef Project before I'd started any of my therapies or anything.
Amazing.
And they were absolutely class. Like, they were brilliant. Didn't speak to them very long, but they've just got this like 24-hour helpline pretty much where you can just text, like, you know, someone on the other side, and they'll just talk to you, chat to you about what the issue is.
Yeah.
Try, you know, give some advice on it. And it does. It's a massive help. It's good to have that there as an option.
Yeah. I just messaged Luke, and I know he's up at stupid o'clock like me.
Yeah. Ridiculous time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, as back to what I was saying before I interrupted myself. I almost apologized as well. The extension, the new Emporium expansion, how's that been? Has it brought in more custom? Do you guys feel more settled as there's more space for you to create more?
It's brilliant. It really is good. I think we've done the best and the most that we can with the space that we have. We were a really small shop to start with. We never had much in terms of like space for expansion, so we've done the best we can. We've got a nice new sort of walk-in fridge, which is really nice, which is utilising as much of the space that we had. It's just opened up the shop. We've got another counter, which is they said half the size, but it's definitely bigger. Probably about 2/3 the size of the main counter. So we're putting more sausage flavors, fill the counters more over a weekend. So it got to a point where, you know, we were prepping and breaking stuff so much, so quick, processing so much, like, you know, produce and things like that, that there wasn't enough space in the counter to sort of have it. So we just had stuff sort of sat in the fridge at the back, like where we couldn't fit it in the main counter itself. So now we can get that out there, you know. It's not going to sell in the back, as we say. So,
of course.
So, but yeah, no, it's really good, really, really good. And it looks smart as well. It was a bit away from sort of what we planned in the first place, but it's definitely worked out better. And now we've got Luke's artwork up, which is even better. So it just breaks it up a little bit.
Oh,
He does a good job. He does a great job.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks class. Gives us a bit more space. We haven't gained much, in all honesty. Customer side, massively. We've got an extra set of scales now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it means that like 2 of us can serve at once, which is really good. Makes a big difference for that. So yeah, on the up, definitely. And you know, it's taken a long time. It's been like behind closed doors for a couple of months now, really. But yeah, no, it's worked really well.
Good. Brilliant.
I know you're a massive burger advocate.
I do like a burger massively.
Luke's a burger fiend as well.
Yeah, I could absolutely crush a burger every single day, which I have done recently.
Just bag. So what kind of mix would you do for your burger? Because I know you love a burger.
20% fat, 100%.
Yeah.
Probably a controversial opinion in terms of like the butchery world.
Here we go.
Fat that isn't off older cattle or ex-dairy cattle, because to me it emulsifies into the mix and you don't get a nice texture. That's just what I think personally.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Sam. Anyway, bye now.
And that's the end of today's show.
Thanks for tuning in.
I think you get a better texture and a better flavor if you use like UTM fat, where it almost like marbles the beef patty a bit more rather than mixing it in. So we use like the rib cap in our burgers. We go through a few rib, like a lot of rib eyes during the week. So that goes through our trim, and then we do brisket and chuck mix there as well. And then if we do use dry aged fat, well, it's all off the rib caps and everything, so you get that nice dry aged flavour. That to me is the best blend, I think. And just salt. I don't think it needs anything else really in there. I'm not a fan of, like when they sort of put like onion in the mix or like sweat off onion first and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan of that. I just like it sort of as it is, really.
Too much effort sweating onions, and you got to cry as well. So you're just like, this fucking sucks. Why are we even doing this to ourselves?
And then I like it when it's good thickness. Like, as much as you say otherwise, you don't want it too thick. You know what I mean?
That's not what she said.
That's what I've been telling my missus for a long time, which doesn't seem to get it. So I like a smash burger.
Yeah.
But I don't understand this whole trend of smashing the mince to within an inch of its life, where it almost goes crispy on like the plancha, on the solid top, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Where you see all the gaps in it.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. And I can't get with that.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I was like, all right, what's he going to say about smash burgers? Come on,
no,
because I was about to come in.
I do. I love smash burgers. I love them, but like, I don't like it when that to me is like you're not bringing anything to the table with that. You know what I mean? I like a burger that you can sort of like, everything's on it, but you can squash it right down and just get straight into it, rather than, like sometimes you go to like a pub or something and you stack it up dead high and you can't even get your mouth around it.
Yeah.
And definitely not like again.
Yeah, gotcha.
And definitely not like the burgers we had at Beer Keller at the Butchers Awards, because they were awful. They were so bad.
Oh,
really?
They were.
Oh.
Why were they so shit?
They were shocking. Did
they not know who they were catering for?
We had stale bread, which but to the point where it almost goes powdery, where you sort of put it just falls apart.
Yeah.
We all got burgers at the same time, but mine was cooked. Johnny's was still mooing.
Mine was raw as well.
Yeah, yours was raw, and then James was just absolutely nailed, like completely nailed, and it was just it was awful, like really, really bad.
It made no sense. Like,
yeah,
you
didn't really
like,
think that one through.
How many butchers do you reckon were in that room? Maybe 80?
Yeah,
easy.
Like, I don't think they thought that one through at all.
No, just all like 80 of us, all business owners, all accredited butchers. Everyone who's been in the industry knows what they're doing. And then it was just like all these different burgers, and then like we all just looked at each other and like because we were all sitting together. We just I took a bite of mine, and it was just like, okay, that's really raw. I like a raw burger, but that was like someone's just gone bang bang. There you go.
Yeah.
I was like 4. Then you were just like, what the fuck am I chewing on? We're going to drink more beer to watch this junk down.
Just like so many mixed emotions. Like we were just almost getting like so overstimulated how bad these burgers were. Like,
James took like 2 bites. He put his plate down, pushed it off to the side, and crossed his arms and went to the table like, I'm not.
Yeah, because James is celiac as well, so he couldn't even have the bread. So he was just eating just this just this patty that was just nailed.
Yeah. So he didn't even have it like rabbit style with the lettuce or whatever it is.
No. I think James has referred to that as a crock of shite before, like when he sees people do that, like classic James response to that kind of thing.
Yeah, he was not impressed, and I loved it.
No. But no, definitely not like that. I like, in terms of, if I was to go out for a burger somewhere, like a burger chain or something. For me, as much as you need to take out a mortgage, it's got to be Five Guys for me.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of a Five Guys burger. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Like,
Yeah.
because it's just, as I said, it's like the smash burgers, but not too thin. They've got a good texture to them, good quality as well. Like,
Yeah.
and then so everything about it I just really like. But for what you get in, it's quite expensive, really, I think. But
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this
fresh
American
chips, though.
diner. Yeah, their chips are stunning. Like they got a really
Yeah.
good program on how they cook their chips, mate. They do a really good job.
yeah.
Mm.
All the like well, when you go into a Five Guys, they have like they cut all the potatoes there, don't they? And then they fry them. They're in like peanut oil, and then they get all the potato like locally to whoever wherever the chain like is, which I think is really cool as well. But yeah, definitely a Five Guys for me.
We have this American style diner called Seven Bone down here as well. So like they're apart from each other, but it's like they have really thick burgers, and they do like all these different styles of them, and then you can either have it like well done or medium or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like proper American. So you're sitting in amongst where they're cooking, and you walk out and you just stink of the food.
Yeah.
And they do these dirty fries with like the bacon lardons on top, and they have like this this Macca's sauce, the McDonald's Big Mac sauce, like just so mothered with the lettuce and everything in there. Like
nice.
And that's cheap as fuck as well. Like if I wanted like a dirty burger date night with the missus, it's either I cook it or we go and spend like 40 quid but like we can have 2 beers each.
Yeah.
Like starters, main, desserts. There, 40 quid where you go to where 40 quid only gets you half a burger at Five Guys.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't like a too overloaded burger. Where they're like more extras, egg, bacon, lettuce, tomatoes as well, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I can't like when it's too much. I don't get me wrong. I like a messy burger, I do, but when it's to the point where you bite into it and everything sort of flops out the back, that's when you know it's been overloaded.
And the brioche buns just absolutely just dissolving.
Yeah. This is sugar now.
I wouldn't have an egg on my burger personally. That's that's not a thing. I don't think that is a thing.
Breakfast burger.
That's a bit different. Yeah, because you're limiting what's on there, so you can get away with that. But if you're just having a burger, then not with an egg on there. Not with an egg on there.
No, that's for like I'm a traditionalist in like an aspect. Like eggs are for like breakfast. I like eggs in breakfast. Eggs and pancakes are great. Eggs and bacon, but on a burger, on a burger, go fuck yourself. I cleaned up that yolk down these hairy arms. Fuck this.
And leave it to dry.
Yeah.
In terms of like sauce, it's got to be French's like American style mustard. It's got to be.
There's only one mustard.
That's like that shit's like heroin when it's on a burger. I think I love it.
Or French fries as well. When they do the French fries, smothered in that, you just like, take me now, French's.
So good.
Oh man.
So good.
I've been trying to recreate a McDonald's cheeseburger, but like healthy version. And so the last few days, it's just like almost a smash burger, white onions, pickles, and the French's American mustard and tomato sauce and a good bun, and I'm just having like 5 of them at a time.
Nice.
So good.
I do like a bit of like raw red onion or like red onion slice like rings on my burger. I do like that.
Yeah, just a bit of acidity in there.
Yeah, I really like that. I think I'd rather have that than like loaded up with like bacon and extra cheese and that kind of stuff. I'll have cheese, but a little bit like red onion or something like that. Yeah, I love it.
Do you like blue cheese?
Blue cheese, difficult one for me. I wouldn't go out and buy it. I love cheese. Wouldn't go out and buy it. But if I'm eating out somewhere and it's served to me and it's like a nice blue cheese, I will eat it. But I'm not mad for it. I'm not like I know a lot of people like it on the steak and stuff. I can't.
Yeah, that's a funny one for me.
I can't get with that. I can't get with that at all. Johnny's one of them. I'll just point that out.
Why am I not surprised?
All the secrets are coming out on Johnny.
Like
They are,
Johnny
yeah.
looks like an absolute like cheesy like 200-day aged steak, and then he'll carve it up and just crumble blue cheese on the top. And
it's
he's
already
like
cheesy as it is if it's 200
Yeah,
days.
exactly. So he
Bro,
loves it. He absolutely
You
loves
are
it.
a dirty boy.
I need more mold in my life.
Good, not good. Now, I must ask
Yeah.
about the Friday facts.
I thought this might
I'm,
come up.
I'm a huge fan. I've pretty much messaged back to every single one. I was like,
Well, that was good. That was good.
how was it? How did it start? Are you the person in the shop who just goes, "Do you want to know something cool?"
Yeah. So basically,
There's always one.
it goes back to the similar sort of conversation we were having earlier, where James and Johnny just think I'm some sort of like 50-year-old man trapped inside a 22-year-old's body. Because like between conversations, or if like, you know, Johnny and James are having like a really in-depth business-based discussion, I'll just turn around and be like, did you know that in like 1862 like such and such happened? And they'll be like, shut up, Sam, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So basically started from that. And when I was like growing up, I used to like read loads, and I've always been interested in like history and just like random general facts. I've loved it. I've always loved it. So every night, like it just went. I just used to blurt out just random stuff to him, just like all the time. And then it got to one point where Johnny was like, "We should just start recording these because they're getting too good. Like there's too many here." So literally, and then he was like, "You need to act it out though. Like you really need to act it out." And I was like, "Well, luckily for you, I've got a GCSE in drama, Johnny." And he was like, "Do you?" And I was like, "Yes." And so he stuck a camera in front of me and literally just went, "Go, do something cool."
Yeah.
I like to describe myself as more of like the performing monkey of the Emporium. That's what I like to see myself as. It's just sort of like, do something cool. Go on, do it. So that's when we sort of came up with the idea of sort of I'll be doing something and then I'll act as if the camera was never there.
That was my favorite part. That's what got me hooked. Hey, didn't see you there.
But it's getting quite difficult. Like each week we're trying to find different jobs that I can be doing, which like leaves a nice clean background for Johnny to get this video. And so they're literally just like, so I have a week to come up with like a different fact. Or if I come up with a really good fact during the week, they'll say like, we'll use that on Friday. And then, And then I was off for 2 weeks. So I went away, and then people will literally message Johnny and be like, "Where's Sam? Where's his Friday fact?"
So good.
And then we posted it, and we had like loads of people saying peace has been restored. like, everything is right with the world now.
Brilliant.
I think the one I did like last week where I was splitting some lamb legs, that caused, like, in some respects, some sort of controversy. It was a little bit niche, I think, that one. You're like, oh, I didn't see that. I was just splitting some legs. So, like, as much as Johnny found it hilarious, it was a bit like,
it's still going up, baby.
Is that butcher's humor where suddenly you go, maybe this should just stay at the block?
And then we are very professional in what we do, and we try and provide a very professional service, but we do have a good laugh with it, and I'm hoping it becomes like Johnny's going to make sure it becomes a permanent thing. I know that.
I can't wait for tomorrow's.
Well, he's going away. Johnny goes away like this coming Monday for 2 weeks. So I've got to record 3 so they can just be posted whilst he's away to keep the peace. So the thing is, I know a lot about God. The more I like listen to myself, the more I think, God, I'm so old. It's insane. like I know a lot about like local area knowledge and that kind of stuff, but I have to try and make it, work for all kinds of viewers.
Nice.
So that's just literally where it came from. Just Johnny sticking a camera in my face and just going, do something cool.
Say it, monkey, say it.
Yeah, exactly. Like flicking coins at me. Just sing a song, bro, and do something. So yeah, that's literally just where it came from.
I love it.
I love
I'm
it.
here for it.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It seems like people are anyway. So
Yeah, it's great, mate. It really is. This is original content, which is what I like.
exactly, like it's
Yeah.
just something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
All right. Should we move over to some guest questions?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Right. So, first question, top of the bucket list.
I've always wanted to go to Italy and do like the lakes in Italy, like Lake Como, that kind of all that, like the tour around there. I've always wanted to do that, so that's always been really high up on something I want to do. But it also seems like something that's like actually doable. Do you know what I mean? Like I just want to go and do it, and I just think the whole idea of just going away and just eating Italian food and that kind of thing, and I just think it's stunning. So yeah, I'd love to do that at some point, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Italy's just there as well, mate. It's like, it's not that far of a travel.
Exactly. It's just like, yeah, I could jump in my car, but yeah, don't know if my car would make it.
Yeah.
Probably just fly.
Yeah, I'll just jump in a plane, I think.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
I
Definitely.
do the Dolomites as well. That's worth it.
Yeah.
If you go in there to do that, just do a whole
Yeah,
northern Italy sort of tour. It'll be absolutely
because
insane.
this is the thing. Like I know like so many people I went to school with and stuff like that, and no, they took like gap years. They went traveling, and literally, I think I was just so focused on what I wanted to do in my career. And then next thing you know, it was just like boom, you have a family, you have a child. It was just sort of like I'd never really thought about it, but now my little lad's getting a bit older. I'd love to do that kind of stuff. So yeah.
But Ant's very well travelled. I've never really been one to explore more than a holiday. I've never done months away, or like a 6 months. I've only ever just done a week, 2 weeks here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done most of Southeast Asia, and
Wow.
I think I've probably seen, since being in, Europe, maybe 15, 17 max, maybe European countries.
Yeah, and he's 45, so you've got loads of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that at some point. That'd be great.
Yeah, really sweet.
I like it. Next question. 3 people to invite to dinner, dead or alive, and why?
Gordon Ramsay, straight up.
Yeah, nice.
Just like, as much as he is not a very nice man on TV, someone I've always looked up to. Always. Big up Ram Dog.
Nice.
Probably Anthony Bourdain. I know it's another chef, but such like, to me, he's just like the epitome of like, first of all, what a person can be like.
Yeah.
Well traveled, like I just think he'd be class. And then it'd have to definitely be someone historical just to chuck something in the mix a bit, I'd say. Probably go with like tough one. That is a tough one. I don't want to say something too controversial, like chucking like Joseph Stalin at the dinner table or anything like that, but I'm sure he's got quite a few stories to tell.
Yeah, and you'll be eating good food. So
I mean, I think a mix of Anthony Bourdain, Stalin, and Ramsay would be a pretty good mix. Even
that's
if
fucking wild.
it might end quite badly, I can imagine. Like,
Yeah. All 3 are very conversed in their own way, and they all have their own voice, and they're quite loud boys.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Stalin's rather opinionated, so I reckon he might have met his match with Ramsay. So
He was.
I think Anthony Bourdain be the one throwing hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe something like that. I think that'd be quite cool.
Remarkable.
That would fucking
Yeah, if that's okay. I don't know if that's
It's your dinner party.
Hey, yeah.
I don't know. Am I gonna have people turn up on my door now to take me away? Or I don't know.
No, you'll be right. Oh man.
That was good.
Right. Where do you see the future of butchery gum?
I see it massively moving away from sort of how, especially in Britain, how society sees butchers. Like we were talking about this the other day. Like if you go into any high street and you ask someone like, what do you first think of when you think of butchers? It's the sort of like stir fries in the counter, like all the coated chicken fillets, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You know
the
what
bright
I mean?
orange lamb
Like,
chops.
yeah, 3 for 15, like, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think now I can see it now moving towards people wanting to see the provenance more. People want to know what they're eating. And it's really good to see. And in that, I think it'll bring a lot more people into this industry, especially like younger people as well, which I think is brilliant. And, you know, going back to sort of the chefing side of it, I think after COVID, so many chefs realised that that is not the life that they want. And I think, especially from my point of view, it was like the best possible industry I could have followed on or into from chefing. And I think, you know, they sort of go hand in hand. And I think that'll, you know, keep pushing that side of things forward. But, you know, you still got to keep with traditional ways of doing and that kind of thing. But I think the days of day glow counters and that kind of stuff, I think they'll move forward and eventually it will be. I'm not saying everything's going to be dry aged or like that kind of thing, but I think people and butchers themselves will be taking much more care in what they're doing, thinking about where things are coming from, because I think that's just what people want, and I think that's for me. I think that's a good direction for them to be going in.
And nice, rather than just to stack it high.
Exactly.
Buy it cheap, sort of thing.
Exactly. It's like, you know, anyone could open up a shop and buy Polish chicken or buy, you know, New Zealand lamb and stick it in a counter, like take it out of a bag, stick it in a counter. But I think in moving forward, people need to be able to like know where the food's coming from, reducing how far away it's come from. But then I think more people coming into it will want to know how the process works, how to get to it. And I think the more people are asking to know where like the provenance and things like that, more people will learn sort of like, you know, how to get to that point, you know, how to break a lamb down and beef down, you know what I mean? So I think that's really important. I do think it'll get there.
Yeah. Education is basically the ground zero, which we've been saying this whole time.
100%.
And yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. And fuck the Polish chicken breast.
Well said. I think with the whole education side of it, it's the same with sort of like just people's eating habits in general. Now, I do think they are changing, but we've completely changed from like, you know, a society where, you know, I mean, I can't say much. I'm literally only 22, but like 30, 40 years ago, you would go to your local butcher, you'd buy a whole chicken, you'd buy whatever, you'd stretch it out. You probably wouldn't eat meat every single day. And now, you know, it's dead easy for someone just to put Polish chicken breasts in a counter or, you know, unpack some lamb. But, and if places are pushing for the provenance and that kind of thing, it's no good if people's eating and cooking habits aren't changing with that. So I think the future of butchery also stands with people learning what to do in terms of eating and cooking. That's a massive thing, massive part of it anyway.
Yeah.
No,
nice. Good answer.
I love it.
Thank God.
Right, next question. Death row meal. Starter, main, dessert. What are you drinking?
Nice. Starter. Do you know when you asked me, do I want to know what the questions are before we start recording?
Yeah.
So starter, that is a tough one. Right, I'll come back to start. I'll go dessert, main, starter. Is that okay?
Yeah, mate.
So dessert, 100% without a doubt. Sticky toffee pudding, butterscotch sauce, vanilla ice cream. Has to be. Like,
Butterscotch sauce. The first time we've had that.
It has to be like, and none of this like where people get custard and ice cream. That's just not a thing because eventually your ice cream's going to melt to custard anyway. So just stop being silly. Like, so yeah, that's just ridiculous. So
These Northerners, man, they know their puddings, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like come on, like main course. It would have to be, as much as I love a burger, I love pizza. I absolutely love pizza, but I love pizza in all variations. I love like Neapolitan style, like where it's stone baked, like sourdough crust kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then again, if I went to like Chicago style deep dish, where it's like loads of like cheese, tomato, like all the tomato sauce and the toppings, I love that. So yeah, it'd have to be pizza, definitely pizza.
Would you have like a whole pizza and then do like 8 slices, but each slice is one of each of your favorite?
Oh, now that is a good one. I'd probably do like half and half.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you do it. I think the prison chef would be going down or be in the weeds doing this, but I'd want like half a deep dish, half like Neapolitan style. So,
there you go.
We can arrange that for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We might need to get like, I don't know, like you just have to sort of like cut the dough out into like a D shape, something. I don't know, but that's his problem.
We got magic powers. We can get it sorted.
I mean, if it's a death row meal, the longer it takes him to cook it, the better for me, really. So,
True, it's very true.
And then starter. Trying to think, it would have to be. Trying to think like the best starter I've had. Probably. Now this is a bit out there. One place that I worked at, we used to do a pig's head fritter.
Oh yeah.
So we used to like cut down pig's heads overnight, pick them clean, reduce all the stock down with like loads of like booze in there. Then we chuck in sort of like juniper, tomato, all that, reduce it right down, nice and sticky. Set it in a tureen, deep, and then breadcrumb it and deep fry it. So you basically have like this deep fried piece of pig's head.
Yeah.
And then we used to have that with like mustard and mayo, and then smoked eel as well, like little bits of smoked eel over it. So you got this really smoky pig's head, bumptious like fritter. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite like starters I've ever had. So yeah, I love that. Definitely go for that.
Nice.
And then so that's the 3 meals. Drink. Oh god, that is a tough one. I'd probably say I'm a real slut for like a Coke Zero. I just love an ice cold Coke Zero, to be honest.
I'm a slut.
When it's right, it's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best. I think that's probably the best way I can put it. I don't know if you probably have to edit that bit out, but yeah, I'm pretty bit of a slut.
Definitely not. I've said some absurd things on here. We are not editing that out.
But then again, because obviously of my middle-aged persona, I do like an IPA, like a golden IPA. Yeah, I love that.
Oh, nice.
I thought you were about to say a cup of tea or something.
Oh no, definitely not. No. No. Again, controversial opinion. Cup of tea with like a hot meal. That's not a thing. Hot drink and a hot meal is not a thing. I don't think.
I don't think either.
No, it's too many hot things. You just get too hot. I don't like that.
I'm sweating it out.
Breakfast.
No, but I still have like a cold orange juice or something with it, like, and then
true. Yeah.
have your tea later. So.
We'll give you that one.
Well, yeah, so something, yeah, that's that, yeah, but probably a Coke Zero, nice cold Coke Zero.
Nice.
Yeah, that fritter sounds amazing.
Yeah, that fritter sounds sick with the eel. I did not see the eel coming.
No.
Yeah, little bits of like smoked eel on top, like quite meaty, but like really smoky. Works really well with pork.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant.
I like that.
So yeah, that's my death row meal. I do think I've made it a bit difficult for the head chef of whatever prison I'm in, but I'm fine with that.
He can always quit.
He's stuck around for over 20 episodes.
Yeah.
It's your turn to go down now, pal. Go on.
Yeah.
Done enough of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Last question is very important. Are aliens real?
Oh, yeah, they've got to be. But it depends what you class as an alien, though. Like, if you're thinking
Have you
sort of
seen
like
Luke?
Mars, too easy. That one. What do you mean that one? You're thinking sort of like Mars attack kind of aliens. Maybe not quite like that, but there's got to be other planets with other life forms, which are most probably more advanced than we are. I think, anyway. Got to be. But yeah,
Definitely.
It has.
We got another one, so we're okay.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Add that one to the tally. We're off.
Yeah. We're 100%. We're 100% on this.
yeah.
I love this streak.
And if if aliens do come over and they do try to like tell us that like smash burgers smashed in an inch of their life are the way forward, it's not. Just send them back.
I'm starting a fight. I'm punching I'm punching someone in the face. I'm breaking an alien eye socket.
Yeah, that's not the thing. Go on.
That's brilliant. Sam, thank you so much for your time,
Thank
for
you.
your inside
worries.
knowledge into the Emporium, so everyone else can try and up their game to get to match you guys. You're doing some serious
It's been an
work.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Anytime.
absolutely brilliant. It really has been.
sweet. So Sam and not Sam, James and Johnny weren't like, oh, don't do that. No, you don't. You don't.
they in fairness, they literally said to me like, "You're doing it. Like you are doing it.
Yeah.
You need to do it." So yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, lads. It's been amazing. Thank you for asking me to come on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I thought of you straight away. I was just like, oh, we got a cancellation. I just went, Sam.
Oh, well, that was good. I'm glad it was on your mind.
Oh yeah, we're going through. Accidentally, we're getting through the Team GB, and then I just thought of you, and I was like, oh yeah, we already had James and Johnny on. Oh fuck yeah, Sam. Anyway,
No, nearly got the whole squad.
yeah.
Yeah. One more to go. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much again. Thank you for asking me to come on. Been great.
All good. Do you
Anytime,
want
mate.
to take this time to again plug and promote anything and everything Sam Bailey?
I'm not really associated with any brands yet, I guess.
You are
big
the
up,
brand. aren't you?
Big up Johnny, big up James, big up Georgina. No, thank you. It's like a BAFTA speech. Thank you for my missus for allowing me to make this phone call.
Yeah.
Thanks for my landlord for letting me have the house to do it in. I don't know. But yeah, thank you.
That's good enough, mate. Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Thanks to my dog.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. It's been
All
class.
good, man. All good. Thank you.
Right. We will all see you on the Monday episode. And don't forget, this weekend, Luke and I are going to be at Smoke and Fire Festival. We are very excited. Now,
Yes.
don't forget, get your butts, balls, and boobs checked. And we'll see you then. Have a lovely Friday, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.